Let us start with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edi vedasyama anistha shrutam me ma prahasi anena dhitena horatram samdadhami ritam vadashyami satyam vadashyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we looked into this text. We stopped at number 9 or even number 10. I added Griffith because there was a good suggestion. So you will have a comparison with some more or less reliable translation. Not interpretation. I call my translations interpretations because I always add something from the point of view of Sri Aurobindo, so to say. So here we stopped at number 9. Asam purvasam ahasu svasrenam apara purvam abheeti paschat tah pratnavat naviyasi or navyasi nunamasme revaduchantu sudina ushasach. This was the last one we stopped. Among these sisters who have come before her in the days, she is the next one who excels and overcomes them. These new bright dawns should now shine onto us and illumine in us the riches as in old times. Pratnavat. This was the last thing we touched, so we come to the new one. Prabodhayosha pranato maghoni abudhyamana panayah sasantu revaducha maghavad maghoni revat stotre sunrite jarayanti. O dawn, awake those who give themselves to you. O generous one, let Panis sleep unaware. O generous one, shine and reveal the riches to those who are generous, cherishing and bestowing wealth onto the one who affirms you, O goddess of the perfect truth. So Griffith rose up, O wealthy one, deliberate givers. Let niggard traffickers sleep on unawakened. Shine richly, wealthy one, on those who worship, richly glad. Dawn while wasting on the singer. Wasting on the singer. This very ancient language, sometimes, but it is poetic in a way. The end of the 19th century. I do not know why he put comma there. Well, I will stick to my translation. So, prabodhaya, awaken, Usha or dawn, yes. Prinatach, those who actually, I put here, it's interesting because pri is to fulfill. or to be so full of wealth and fulfillment and realization that he is able to give, becomes generous. It's an interesting kind of contextual meaning, because really Pri root is always to fill, and then to grant abundantly, to bestow on, to present with in the Rigveda. These are translations, yes, contextual. But main meaning is pri parayati or prinati, is to fulfill, to satisfy, to be filled with, become full of, to be satiated, yes, and not to be giving. But these two somehow coincide in the same meaning. This is interesting for the people who study Sanskrit, that this fulfillment is actually resulting in the generosity. Only the fulfilled person is generous in a way, to some extent. This is what comes to my mind from this prinatach. Prinatach is the participle present tense, those who give themselves. So, Odon, awake those who give themselves to you, or who are fulfilled by you, O generous one. Let panis sleep unaware. Who are these panis? We spoke about them a few times. These are the karmendriyas, indriyas, senses of action. It is our speech. These are the powers which move our word, hands, legs, and procreatory and excretory organs. These are all the organs which are connecting our physicality to other beings. Yes, our body is connected through these karmendriyas, or senses of action. And there is this profound understanding of the yoga that, truly speaking, we cannot connect to the inner being while being active outside, in our outer being. When our outer being, when these karmendriyas are activated, the connection with the inner perception is weakened. And so when we are working, when we are walking, when we are doing something with the hands or with speech or any other activities, we are always, so to say, becoming separated from the innermost perception. So on this ground, the whole yogic discipline was developed, that we must become immobile. We have to sit steady, quiet our vitality, our emotions, sensations, quiet, make still our mind, become silent in the mind, and even stop even breathing. And then we can dive deep within. And then we can establish the inner connection. So, interestingly, Rishi here says this, that awaken or dawn those who are fulfilled by you, O generous one, and may the panis sleep, unaware of you coming to us. So it means that if panis awaken in us, they will snatch and steal the light of the dawn. And they are always stealing the light of the dawn and storing it in the subconscious cave. That is their treasures, their stolen treasures. Panis also can be translated as traffickers. They are robbers and traffickers. That they are actually trying to sell that light to the highest bidder and to aggrandize themselves by that. Shobindu says that they are not really the enemies, but they are not capable of doing the sacrifice. Our karmendiyas grew from the inconscient, yes, they helped us to reach out and to communicate with the outer world and build up all the relations through our hands. Hands are reaching out, yes, and making exchange possible, doing something outside what we want. Legs are carrying us through so we can move in space and go where we want to go. Speech is another expression um, of the self, which communicates what we want. So, and also procreatory and excretory organs. They're also connecting us to the outer world. So, when these are activated, and these are the fundamental powers of the of of consciousness rising from inconscient, let us say that way. So it is not, they are not yet aware how to give themselves. They do not know how to give. They know only how to take, and they need that light, yes, but they do not know what for. So they are selling that light. They are traders without knowing the true value of that light, but they know that it is valuable. It's like traders. Traders are trading the materials which they don't produce. They value it only by money. They don't value it for itself. So it's kind of interesting to think of them as traders.
Vladimir, I have a question, please.
Yes, please.
So, when you say awake those who give themselves to you, does it also mean service, in service to you all the time?
Well, who surrender to you, literally, yes. Of course, there are many ways of surrendering, grades of surrendering, one of which is service. Not totally giving oneself, but being useful for the work of the dawn or the Divine Mother. Yes, of course. Yes. And these traders in us, uh, they are very selfish. Yes, they are selfish beings because they never been on that other side of light. So they have to be selfish, otherwise they will not be able to form this separate body, yeah, with all the functions. So their selfishness is inbuilt in them by the lack of higher knowledge or higher consciousness. So when the dawn comes, what they do, they rush and snatch that light and hide it in their subconscious cave. And that subconscious cave is discovered by Indra. This is the whole secret of the Veda, that in that subconscious cave, all our treasures are stored. Whatever higher perceptions we had, they are all there in a way, hidden from us, yes, so that we should not be, as Sri Aurobindo says in Savitri, even as gods. They hide from us our treasures, that we should not turn into the divine too soon. So we have to evolve still in the bodies and not to rush into the divine light. So there is some kind of transformative processes taking place when these unconscious powers in us snatch the light. They store it there, and there's something happening to them over time. So they become more and more, most probably, capable of opening to this light and knowing how to give themselves. This is what I think, why they steal this light and store it there. So according to this, the Vedic myth, the Brihaspati, Indra, Agni, Saraswati, they are all coming, Maruts, they are coming and meeting this, finding this cave, Vala, and destroy it. Yes, and Brihaspati with his roar, with his divine word, Indra with his lightning, Agni with his power. Everyone rushes onto this Vala, the subconscious cave, and releases all these treasures which were stored there for millennia or for millions of years from the beginning of our journey. So there's a very rich cave of wonders there within a subconscious cave, which is waiting to be discovered or recovered by us. And so one day this will happen, and these treasures will be released. And they are described as the herds of the sun, as the dawn, and a new dawn is born. Dawn herself actually demolishes, destroys Vala, and discovers a new dawn hidden there within. And all these herds of the sun, they move towards the supermind. Yeah? They are released from the subconscious cave. This is the uniqueness of the Veda and integral yoga, that they, within the deepest darkness, there are treasures hidden, spiritual treasures which have to be discovered. So these panis are the owners. They have ownership over them, yeah? Copyright. They are holding them in the subconscious cave. And Vala is that subconscious cave. Yeah? Another name, Vala. Interesting, similar to wall. It's like a wall. From root vri with l, changing, covering. It's a cover up, separation of those treasures from us. So every time we go into the deep meditation or establish the contact with the divine presence, if we start moving actively with our limbs, with our body, we lose that connection. It was more so in kind of 100 years back. Sri Aurobindo started to work on it very consciously to bring that light into these panis. Yes, he was walking in his room for years. He was walking so long and so intense that people heard him walking, boom, boom. He was putting this energy, this spiritual presence into the karmendriya of legs, walking into the feet. He did something to the speech also, bringing the light into the self-expression, into Savitri. All his writings are actually charged with the light. So by reading them, these works of Sri Aurobindo, we immediately feel the presence. This is a big achievement. It's a big breakthrough. It's through these karmendriyas of speech and walk, and most probably with hands also something is closer to the light than it was before. At least Mother created all these workshops and factories in Sri Aurobindo Ashram for people to work with consciousness. Yes. This is the major topic of all integral yoga, of all yoga. It's our major, biggest puzzle, that we cannot be both active and perceptive at the same time. And I'm mentioning this many times. And many ashramites who were in the ashram, they were supposed to do the manual work at the factory or washing dishes, but with the consciousness, with the presence. So not to separate from that presence. The same question was put forward by Pavitra to Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo, he told him that when I am in meditation, I am totally fine. I feel the presence and the descent of the force from above. But the moment I try to do something, especially mathematics, I try to solve a mathematical equation which I'm interested in, I'm losing the presence. The moment I start being active outside, I am losing that connection. What should I do? Could I keep the connection while doing things outside? And Sri Aurobindo says, you go slow, you keep the connection, and do things nearly mechanically, as if by body only, and slowly establish that contact through work. So to say, the contact and working outside has to be maintained. And this is an interesting suggestion because this is the karma yoga basically of Sri Aurobindo. Yes? Once the presence is felt, then we have to train these panis, karmendriyas, to be not to be stealing the light, but to be receptive of it and allowing it to stay while we are working. Does it make sense? Should make sense. So these are the panis. Here they are mentioned. May they sleep. You see, in the times of the rishis of the Veda, these panis should not be trained. They have to sleep because it is too much for them to wake up and to steal the light. Rishis could not manage them yet. So you can imagine how far Sri Aurobindo advanced this idea of transformation of the body. For them, the panis should sleep better than we will try to train them to be receptive of the light and not stealing it. So it's a big question what level of that yoga was there in the Veda, if this is mentioned in this way. But you will see that after Vedic, in the post-Vedic literature, the whole yoga approach is about pacifying all the karmendriyas, so becoming immobile in the body, in the vital, in the mind, stop breathing, stop thinking in order to reach deeper to the truth, to the inner truth. There was no other way to reach. And because of that, most probably, because of this issue of the panis, that this integral yoga of the Veda, of constant transformation of our nature by the spirit, had to split into the Advaitic approach of India and the Semitic approach towards power. So the Semitic and Vedic tradition, Chaldean and Vedic tradition, separated, yes, and the split on spirit and matter took place in humanity because it was too difficult to manage the panis. So the panis are the very reason of this separation on spirit and matter.
Vladimir, I had one question about this Magha. Maghoni has been mentioned twice. Magvat, Magvat, yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly is Magha or Maghoni trying to say? What does it mean?
Yeah, Magha in the later literature is the sacrifice, yes?
Oh, it is that.
And also the port for the sacrifice, some particular port. But Magha is from Mach, great, yeah, great one, literally. And it is mainly understood as generous one. Whereas, interestingly, Prinat also is the one who is fulfilling. Fulfilling one is generous one. It's kind of, yes, he's fulfilling not only himself, he's fulfilling himself in the in his environment also. He has to be fulfilling in his environment if he's fulfilling himself. Maybe this is the idea. Yes? The fulfilling one is generous one because he's not only for himself but for his environment. I'm kind of always deconstructing the meaning of the roots. trying to see how new meanings arrived in contextual applications like this, but not actually fulfilling, but generous. Why fulfilling is generous. There's some truth of our consciousness there. And when we see it, we have some understanding.
And what is Jarayanti at the end?
Jarayanti, I put here Jaraya, to cherish. Very simple translation, but it's from Jiri, to make somebody express oneself. So Jiri is to speak, actually, also to be worn out. So she's causing somebody to cherish. Bestowing, I added cherish and bestowing wealth. Causing this revat to be expressed, to be literally, I'm translating literally, but without literal translation, simply bestowing wealth. Revat is an interesting word. It's a raivat. It's a word which is used only in the Veda. There is Revati also. Usha is called Revati. The one who has Raich, or like the luminous wealth, or the one who has luminous wealth, who is in possession of luminous wealth. But then again, it is used in translation as wealthy, opulent, rich, prosperous. You can see all this. I put it here for you. And it is twice. Revat ucha maghavad biach maghoni revat stotre sunrite jarayanti. It's a very poetic form.
Vladimir,
Yes.
this word Maya, the root coming from Ma, isn't it? For Maya.
Yes, absolutely.
And what I was reading in Life Divine, with chapter Maya, I think. She was mentioned. She was mentioned that it is to measure.
Yes, absolutely. Ma is to measure.
Right. So here, what you are saying, Magha. So here, is it the same thing? It is
Belongs
because
from
that is also from the root Ma.
No, Ma is a long A. Yes, Ma, Mata. And from here, Mother. Mother is the one who measures out, who creates the form, shapes.
Yes. Okay.
But
Okay.
Magha is short A. It's from Mag, yeah,
Ma. Acha.
from being great.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
The
Most
two different
probably,
things.
there's a kindred roots, of course, but it's short.
Acha.
Yeah. Like Mahadeva, yeah. Mahashakti, this Maha, yeah.
Acha.
Maghavan. Maghavan is Indra, yeah. Right. Okay. So number 11. Aveyam ashvait yuvatich purastad. Jungte gavam arunanam anikam. Vinunam uchad. Asati praketu graham graham upatishthate agnich. This young lady has shone upon us in the east, yoking the rays of red light into the front of her armies. It's my addition. Widely now she should shine. The vision should go forth, and Agni should be present in every house. Griffith, this young maid, capital M, from the east has shone upon us. She harnesses her team of bright red oxen. She harnesses her team of bright red oxen. Interesting solution. She will beam forth. The light will hasten hither, and Agni will be present in each dwelling. There is a unique connection between the dawn, Usha, and Agni. Agni is calling to the dawn, always. Interestingly, we have in Auroville, always on our special occasions of Sri Aurobindo and Mother's birthday and Auroville's birthday, we have this gathering at the dawn in the morning, early morning in the dark, and we begin with fire, with flame. We kindle the fire and we wait for the dawn to arrive. This is typical Vedic ritual, vision of the flame, the immortal among mortals. The flame is always there in the dark. He is never extinguished. He is always flaming there. And the dawn arrives to his calling, comes to him. So it's interesting here that an Agni will be present in each dwelling is connected with the dawn. She is doing something to the flame, kind of helping him to distribute his presence in the darkness. This young lady has shone upon us in the east. Ava, Ashvait, shone upon us from above, down, Iyam Yuvatich, this young lady, Purastad, from the east, yoking the rays of red light into the front of her armies. Yungte Gavam, of the rays of the cows, of the oxen, Arunanam, of the red oxen, Anikam. She yokes it to the front. Anika is the front or the face or the armies, arranged armies fronting the darkness. So she connects all her rays and luminous rays into the arrayed armies fronting the darkness. Vinuna muchat asati praketuh. Widely she should shine. Uchat is subjunctive. She should shine now, wide, V. The vision should go forth. Praketum asati. Griham griham, and in each house, upatishthate Agni, there should be present Agni. It's quite straightforward. There is hardly any symbolic package. Everything is kind of revealed directly. Number 12. Utte vayachchit vasate apaptan narashchaye pitubhajo viyushtau amasate vahasi bhuri vamam usho devi dashu shemartiyaya. At the dawn, the birds fly up from their nest, and men who enjoy the juice, soma, pitu bhajach, so to say, to the one who is in the house, you bring great enjoyment. Interesting. To the one who is in the house. It is the soul. We are the one who is in the house. You bring great enjoyment. O dawn divine, Usho Devi, or the goddess dawn, to the mortal giver, Dashu Shemartiyaya, to the mortal who gives himself to you, or to the divine. In the morning, Vihushtau, or at the dawn, yeah, the word. The birds fly up from their nest at the beginning when the first light, hardly visible, breaks through. We hear immediately birds chirping and starting to fly, to wake up. The birds feel very and interestingly, the birds are used also in the sense of the souls in the Veda. The birds are always the symbol of the souls. The souls are awakening, yes, and flying up with the dawn. So it is also a symbolic imagery of the Divine Mother reaching out and the souls are being awakened, rising with this. And all the men are also seeking the enjoyment of Soma, rising at the dawn. They are Pitu. Pitu is the Soma juice. Yeah? Bhajach, enjoying. The enjoyers of Soma drink, of the sensual delight, of ambrosia, of immortality inbuilt in this manifestation in time and space. We are all seeking this enjoyment of Soma. And man is a very general translation. Narach is also not man, but heroic souls of man, we can translate. And the heroic souls of man seeking the fulfillment here in manifestation, in the fullness of delight, also rise up at the dawn when the mother arrives. To the one who is in the house, Amasate. Amasate is Vedic formula. To the one who is in the house, Vahasi Bhuri Vamam, you bring a great or grand enjoyment. Bhuri, extended Vamam, joy, enjoyment, satisfaction. To the mortal who gives himself to you, O dawn divine. Sometimes I think that these verses are meant not to even describe anything. They are meant to activate those processes of understanding and experience, which is there when the Divine Mother arrives. And so what happens then you feel this, the arrival of the Divine Mother, and you have similar or same experience. And the last verse of this hymn, Astodhvam, or Astodhuvam, Somya Brahmana me, Avivridhadvam, Ushatirushasach, Yushmakam Devich, Avasa Sanema, Sahasrinam cha, Shatinam cha Vajam. You were firmly established by my prayer rising from the depth of my heart. You means dawns. The dawn is addressed many times as in plural, as the hues of light, the waves of light, waves upon waves. Because when the mother's force arrives, comes down, descends, it's never like one static thing. It's with the layer upon layer, wave upon wave, hue upon hue. It increases its pressure and presence. You were firmly established, you. You see, plural, astodhvam. You were firmly established by my prayer rising from the depth of my heart, or were established in me by my prayer rising from the depth of my heart, Brahmana Stomiya, me of mine. O shining dawns, you grow more and more. Avivridhavam, Ushatich Ushasach, worthy of praise, Ushatich. And with your help, Avasa, O goddesses Devi, Yushmakam Avasa, with your increase, with your pervasive growth within me and increase, may we reach the plenitude, Sanema, may we realize Sahasrinam cha Shatinam cha Vajam, the plenitude of thousandfold and hundredfold power or intensity. I added power word, there is no power. Vajam is plenitude, where power and knowledge, light of knowledge are mixed. It's a substance charged with consciousness. So this is the end of the hymn. If you have any thoughts, questions, ideas, please. I know it's too much light and, well, it's an ancient, the most ancient text on earth. So what do you want? No? We need time to arrive at speech, yes? The tongue has to move. It needs some time to start moving.
Vladimir, I have a question. And that is when you mention about the herds of the sun that are our senses, correct? They're the faculties, the indriyas that are moving towards the sun. Can you elaborate a little bit about that? Why is the word herd being used?
Because of bulks, because of the multitude, infinity, herds, because the rays of the sun are the cows, yes, and oxen, and that's why the herds.
Oh, okay.
And it was the symbolism of the Vedic rishis. The cows and the herds were the part of their reality that time. And you know, when cows in the morning go to the fields, did you see that ever? They're like spreading with many of them. They're all reaching out towards the dawn, so to say. It's a beautiful pastoral image.
And the opposite till the cows come home in the evening.
Right. And they are moo from far away. Come home.
They hasten to come back.
And they call you
And
and always give you a sign. You know that she comes home. And they're coming home by themselves, actually.
Mhm.
Mother says a very beautiful simile. She says that it is like a watch, when you wind it up and release it, it comes back with a greater recoil. So it's so more you go away, when that realization is there, then one comes back with a greater recoil. So wonderful.
Right. Well, the prodigal son returns, yes. The same idea. That the Christian idea, of course. The farther you deviate from the divine, the sweeter is the return. Right. That may explain also this this yogic process of the higher you are rising, the deeper you are diving in, and and then that makes it's like a spring towards the higher rising even. So the deeper you dive, the higher you rise. Yeah, we can put it out other way around. Yeah, this diving into the depth of inconscient or unconsciousness is not very pleasant, but it's unavoidable, I guess. You cannot stay only in the light. So every time we rise a little bit in the light, after our sessions on the reading of the Rigveda, expect to go down. The second half of the day will be a nightmare. Right? Something of the kind. So that's why Sri Aurobindo says, I would never recommend this yoga for anyone. Only for those who are called upon. This was also the reason why the Vedic rishis did not succeed, pre-Vedic, pre-Chaldean tradition, and had to split into two halves. This is why, because of this, diving deep and rising higher. Because that intensity grows and cannot be easily handled by a human consciousness.
Yes, something comes up when listening to you. It's this reality that you just described. How can you reconcile this with the sunlit path that the Mala speaks of? Is there a synthesis that can be done between both, or these two different realities or way of being in the world? Or is it just that being in the presence and identifying with the presence, from there you can welcome the highs and the up downs, and it stays luminous if the major part of you stays in the light?
Right. Well, if we can, and some of us can, some of us, I do not know them yet, can be totally fixed on the sunlit path, yes, then it becomes the easiest way and the fastest. So Sri Aurobindo mentions this in Navagva Rishis. He says that if the sacrifice done in uninterruptedly for over 9 months, it will lead to transformation. Yeah? But who can really handle even one day, really uninterruptedly? I mean, really uninterruptedly. That means you're constantly in the presence and you're holding on to it, and everything you do is the offering to the presence. There will be gaps. There will be kind of relapses. We will fall asleep after all. We'll start eating or going or doing something, and we lose the connection, or it becomes weaker. So that is the problem, yeah, in a way. And we know it by experience. It's not something I'm saying out of the blue. It is what is happening every day, all the time. So how to hold on to it uninterruptedly, really, fully, this is, if our soul will be capable of doing it, or there has to be a grace. Sri Aurobindo says about two powers which are needed for this yoga. Either you have the willpower, which you can get only through initiation, he says this. So you can be initiated into the yoga in such a way that you will get a willpower, but that willpower is the will of Purusha, yes, which decides this thing to be or not to be, and it is effective immediately. So if I decide this thing should not be in my life, it will disappear. Yeah? It will never come back. We need that will. Can you imagine having such a will? What we could do with our lives? Yes, we could do everything, but we don't have that will. That's the weakness of will. Or by grace. Second thing, grace. And this is the Divine Mother, the dawn. she comes, even if we are falling, and if we are forgotten, and if we are doing stupid things, she's still waiting for us to rejuvenate us and to put us back on track. Yeah. So the willpower is more with tapasya, tapasvins, and grace is more with surrender. Yeah, so one has to surrender, but again, we are not one being that we decide and we surrender. There are many parts in us which are pretending to surrender or never surrender, and so on. So the fullness of this experience is very difficult to gain. That's why we have this, probably. We have to dive deeper to get those parts which do not want to surrender, to bring them to the top. So this is the dynamism of this process, which is difficult for the being who is not used to it, or who wants to have steady, simple life, satisfying senses, and being happy with that. But once you are in that process, on that path, you cannot go back for some reason. You cannot become normal again. It's just impossible. You don't find the meaning in all those enjoyments of ordinary living. They are not satisfactory. You cannot become ignorant again easily. It's very difficult. And Sri Aurobindo speaks about this actually. He says that you can be yoga bharashta. Yoga bharashta, the one who deviates from yoga path. You were on the path of yoga and then you decided, no, it's not working for me. I go back to normal life. You can decide and go to normal life if you can bear the consequences. Because that presence will not be there anymore. And you will rush back to want to, because we take it for granted. We think that it is kind of given to all. It's not like this. Those who live ordinary life do not have this presence in that intensity and clarity and bliss. So once that bliss will be gone, you would feel like you're missing something fundamental. So this is bearing the consequences of your deviation. So there are some people who did this in their life. And I'm not sure that it is even possible to do finally, maybe only for one reincarnation. Yes, you can reject to be, but for the next, you will be drawn again to this because the soul is there. So it's unavoidable. But sunlit path, yes. It's like a fresh breath or something. It's possible. It's doable. And maybe with the grace, it is. And we believe so that it is possible. It's already a very good step forward. And one day it will become possible. Most probably we are already on sunlit path, only we just face difficulties and think that by facing difficulties we are not on the sunlit path. Yeah. What do you think, Linda?
Yeah, thoughts passed by, but I didn't grab it, so I don't remember now. I will say something if something comes up again. I need to contemplate.
Yeah.
Maybe what came up is, it's really this yajna, this sacrifice, when doing it with intensity, with this tapas. At the same time, there can be surrender while having this tapas of offering to the flame.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the flame offering itself to the flame which brings then soma, so a certain delight that grows, and this in itself reinforces the process. So it's not a dry thing, it's kind of pretty pleasant. So that helps the tapas. In a retreat setting, it's easier to keep it the whole day, not during the night when you sleep, unless you're conscious, unless you stay conscious while you're sleeping. But then, of course, during the night, you go back to the very low unconscious layers. And then you have to start again in the morning.
Right.
And there, unavoidably, if you're not conscious during the sleep, the waves of going up and down happen.
Right.
Because there's the unconscious of falling asleep during the night.
And the rapanis, that indriyas of action, the senses of organs of action, which are, when activated, they steal the light all the time. So there are many different obstacles on the way. Yes, so you will be living
Yes.
like immobile, like frozen. If you want to keep all the time the presence, will do hardly anything outside. But how to be living and to be with presence, yeah. So there are issues, yes. And we also inherited a lot of darkness because we have to transform it. And even many layers which are not within us are there waiting to enter into our field for transformation, because we are that transformation station. So the sunlit path most probably is that holding on to light uninterruptedly, whatever happens, yes. And then facing all the consequences, yes. Great thoughts. Thank you for sharing. All right, we will stop here for today and we will take next hymn next time. Okay? Okay, namaste.